All film openings, no matter what the style or genre, they all follow the institutional conventions. When researching into film openings, I realised that they incorporated a logo of the company, which was then followed by titles. The logo appears at the beginning of the film to indicate what company produced the film. Sometimes they even incorporate the logo of the distributors. I decided not to include a logo because I was aiming to produce a drama film that could be shown as a BBC 2-part drama and also shown as an independent film. I feel that the simple titles are more effective, and they also tie in with a shot of the chopping board. As the film is dominated by one female protagonist, I only included the actor's name in the sequence. In connection with my aim to create an independent film opening, I wanted the star to follow my chosen genre. I chose the drama genre as I knew from the start that I wanted to create an emotive, thought-provoking opening. When I was set in the genre, I then started researching into drama films. I looked primarily at The Secret Life of Bees, as it is extremely emotive and holds a great storyline. The simple execution of the film told the story beautifully. After I thought of the institutional conventions, I thought of the generic conventions. I thought that it would be most appropriate if I set my opening in a kitchen. I did this as it created the atmosphere of reality, the reality of one woman's struggle through life. As the kitchen contained big windows, I could let natural light through, and the decoration of the kitchen was simple, black and white, which contrasted well with the red top of the protagonist. When creating the narrative, initially I had two ideas, but due to the lack of accessibility of set and actor, I chose to stick with my idea of a woman's story and how she is struggling through the changes of life. I feel that the narrative is interesting as it interweaves cultures, is extremely emotive, and is able for the audience to relate to. I decided to keep my protagonist hidden for a while, as I wanted to create a sense of secrecy and to make the audience want to know who that is. The pan of the kitchen counter is a miniature stabbing shot, which sets the opening. The pace of the pan initially is quick until the protagonist enters. The contrast of pace indicates that the character is holding onto something dear. I then decided to view my character with a tilt upwards. The low camera angle suggests that the woman is in power, but her expression counters that thought. If the film was to continue, I would include many of props characters. I would have the mother of the protagonist being the helper or the seeker. I would have the prize/princess as the protagonist's husband, as they would rekindle their love later on into the film. I would also include a villain somehow, maybe one of the family members, or one of the protagonist's employers. The soundtrack was extremely important as it would create a specific atmosphere, and an atmosphere I wanted to create properly. I thought of using one piece of music to underscore the entire scene, but when the song accompanied the scene, it didn't fit as it increased in pace, volume and tension. I decided to underscore the opening with the audio from the home videos, especially with my grandmother singing Father. The Father really captivated what I wanted the audience to feel, and the lyrics speak of what the protagonist is thinking. I decided to incorporate fado because it's a Portuguese style, which then links back to the protagonist's heritage. I followed the conventions of a drama film as I thought in detail how I could best portray the character's struggle with change through the set, clothing, props, and how I introduced the character, and how I used the soundtrack to create an atmosphere. My film opening is based on a middle-aged woman's struggle with how much her life has changed, and how it has spiraled out of control. The woman represents all women who are scared of the future, scared of losing their children as they grow up, scared of living a loveless marriage, and living in their memories. The protagonist Isabel represents middle-aged women from a working class, taking control of her life. The female audience, especially mothers, could relate to the protagonist as they know how she feels and what she is going through. The opening is full of big, bold female characters and is dominated with the power they possess. The opening displays relationships between grandmother, mother, aunt and children. It demonstrates the multiple faces that the protagonist carries, the woman carries. She is a mother, a daughter, a wife, a sister and a friend. I thought that would be most appropriate to focus of the protagonist and how her power in contrast with her vulnerability, which is why I included a mixture of low-angle shots and profile shots to demonstrate the contrast of how she is feeling. Personally, I feel that my media product would be distributed by independent companies, like the Weinstein Company and Momentum Pictures, as the film is suited for a smaller audience and would be better suited to be produced by an independent British film companies, especially as it is set in Jersey. Institutions such as Bedlam Productions, Seesaw Films, BBC, ITV, and also Film 4. It wouldn't be appropriate for a conglomerate to produce the film as it doesn't require any CGI, green screen, and major elaborate props nor sets. My media product would only need a small budget, which would be more appropriate for an independent film company to produce and distribute. I first set out and surveyed a range of young people to find out what genre they desired and preferred to watch. I found out that many of those surveyed liked watching dramas. After collecting my data from the surveys, I then interviewed students to state why they like the genre drama.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
yes.
They're okay.
Yes, I totally do.
Yes. Yeah, yes I do.
I do like drama films.
They're like intense.
Because they grip you and make you want to know what's going on.
Because they're very emotional and they make you think about what's happening and you try and relate it with your own life.
I just like that sometimes you kind of get emotionally attached to the people that you're watching the film with.
They're interesting to see how the story develops.
Because they're gripping.
Because they're gripping and get attached to them.
Because they're gripping and emotionally gripping.
I really like drama films because they're captivating for me as the audience, and they also feature a lot of things I can relate to.
I think they're quite like the most realistic type of film that you can get. I think they speak to the audience a lot more than comedy can.
Taken, because it's like loads of suspense. It's like, ooh.
I like The Green Mile because it makes you wonder what's going on and you like the character.
The Notebook. It's very emotional, it has a good story and it keeps the audience engaged.
The Notebook, because by the end of it you just literally just couldn't turn off the screen and you just loved everything about it.
Shawshank Redemption. It's got a really interesting story.
Oh, it's Forrest Gump, because it was just so emotionally
Charging?
Yeah,
Yeah.
good word.
Schindler's List, because it's quite emotionally gripping and you want to see more of it. It's
Nice.
quite hard hitting.
Probably Titanic. Just because you just get into it. Like,
Romeo and Juliet, because it took a new turn on my favourite novel, Romeo and Juliet.
One of my favourite drama films is A Walk to Remember because it's one of the few films that can really make me cry, and I think that that's quite a difficult thing for a film to carry off, and I think it did it really well.
Once I collected all my data, I then discussed my idea with more students and they were extremely interested in watching the final product. Once my film opening was complete, I then showed it to multiple students and they were all impressed and thrilled at the outcome. In my initial research, my audience stated that they like dramas because they are captivating and the attention and detail of the narrative is extremely important. I succeeded the same by not completely concluding the opening, also by not including much dialogue that explains fully. In result, left it ambiguous. By making it mysterious, I left the audience in a thought-provoked state, inviting them to wonder as to what is going on and the purpose for each individual scene. I revealed the main character a lot later on in my film opening to keep my audience engaged and interested. This worked in my favour because many of the young people I surveyed, after watching the first draft, were eager to see the story through. While constructing my media product, I learnt a considerable amount of how films are produced and the technology used. Throughout my opening, I used a camera and a tripod. Whilst doing this, I was able to manipulate and alter the white balance, focus, and also the exposure. I was also able to explore different camera angles, similarly in the independent film Boy A, and my main inspiration, The Secret Life of Bees. After experimenting with different camera shots, angles and movements, I was able to fully execute what I intended. I also used a dolly, as I wanted to experiment on camera movement. I tried the dolly in a crab motion to then pan to the actress. But when capturing my footage, I saw that the crab motion on the dolly was far too shaky due to the uneven ground. Once I recorded my footage, I would then capture it onto Adobe Premiere, where I could then edit it all together. Working in Adobe Premiere lets me create the style I was aiming for, especially how I could alter and manipulate the contrast, saturation, and levels of the footage, which is key as half my footage is representing the despair of the protagonist. Along with camera skills, I also learned how to properly create quality sound. Whilst filming, I used a miniature boom mic to record the diegetic sound. I would give directions to my actor while still recording the diegetic sound, and then after that I recorded just the ambient sound, which is what I used as the ambient sound in the opening. I also learnt how the effect of reverb and layering sound creates textures, which increases the quality. Also how to monitor the sound's volume and when to fade in and fade out correctly and when appropriate. With the help of Premiere, I could achieve the correct balance of both visual and audio. As my opening includes home videos, I could learn how to capture them onto the computer. I did this through a VCR that was connected to a camera, which was then connected to a computer. I then included the home videos into Premiere as it cuts to the footage I recorded. When thinking of how to display my home videos, I initially thought of zooming into the footage to fill the screen, to then add on top the same footage, and then in Adobe After Effects blend them all in to emphasize the idea of a memory or dream. But after watching the film Blow starring Johnny Depp, I saw a flashback sequence of home videos displayed, and they displayed them with a black border all the way around. I thought that this would be more appropriate and better suited, as the audience wouldn't get confused with the home videos as a dream. They are the protagonist reliving the past, not a dream. By using Premiere, I could create the black borders around the footage, just like they are in the film Blow. When looking back at my preliminary task, I have learned a lot, especially in my technical skills. I faced a lot of problems in my preliminary task, especially with the sound, as I recorded outside with a boom mic on an extremely windy day. This ruined the quality of the dialogue and was also terribly distracting.
Please don't make that again. So you're not going to say anything?
I just can't believe this is happening.
I wanted to improve my sound skills and challenge myself. In result, I recorded a sequence outside of the harbour. This challenged me to think of what I needed to consider when recording outside, especially the white balance and sound. I made sure that I recorded the sound twice for reliability. I feel that I have improved in my camera movements and my creativity in what camera movements, angles and shot sizes best suit and would best portray the narrative, character and best show off the location properly. I have also understood the process of pre-production through to production and how it affects the post-production. I've learnt and realised the complex work that goes into producing a film, especially to make it look professional, captivate the audience, and to fully tell the narrative to its right. I am extremely happy with the end result.